Why bread? Why wine? Why does it that we are celebrating in every Mass, that we have reserved in the tabernacle, these elements? So simple and can seem somewhat mundane. Why would we have this? Why would Jesus give this to us the night before he died and said, this is the ritual, this is what I want you to do over and over and over until I come again? Why this one? Well, of course, we can connect it back to various things in the Old Testament of what he was celebrating at that time, Passover, right? That celebrating the Israelites fleeing out of Egypt, and so they had those unleavened bread that they didn't have enough time to put the leaven in and let it rise. So they had to eat unleavened bread as they were hurrying out of Egypt. And wine, because they're celebrating that they are free. And also there was the lamb that was sacrificed. So Jesus kind of connects the lamb with the bread, meaning that's him sacrificing himself. But we can also question, well, why did God arrange that? He didn't have to have the Israelites flee out of Egypt and have a meal before they went. He could have done it some other way. God can use, and it is creative in very various ways. So we have to kind of think, what is the logic behind God choosing this? Well, one thing about bread is that it's basically the staple throughout humanity. Some form of bread, whether it's tortillas or it's pita bread or naan in India, there's some form of grain that's been ground up, mixed with flour, maybe fermented or not, with some yeast, and then eaten every day, maybe even several times a day, and is probably the main staple to sustain people, even if they had nothing else, even no meat or vegetables or whatever else that we need for a good, healthy life. We would at least have something as a sign of society, of civilization. We understand that grains would have been cultivated. It's what archaeologists, it's what anthropologists understand about civilization. It started when we settled down and we started cultivating grains. So it's a part of what it means to be human, basically. So Jesus is connecting to something really fundamental about what it means to be human. And he wants to become that which we can't live without. That's really important, because we can have really fancy meals, we can have a really fancy life, we can have lots of conveniences and think, well, we've got it all. And we can forget God. We can leave him to the side. He can seem not as important. But if we were to strip all of that away, if we were to look deeper than all of the conveniences that we have and the security and the luxuries in life, what is it that we need the most? What is it that really sustains us through life? And it's not the things, especially lavish meals or whatever. It's the simple bread. It's the simple friendship. It's the relationships. That's what makes us human. And Jesus wants to be in relationship to us as the most important thing, the thing that gives us the energy to keep going, even if everything else is stripped away. We can rely on this relationship, even if all those other relationships are rocky or fall apart. So he comes as that which is most needed in our life. And he comes to us as bread. Then why wine? Well, as I mentioned about during the Passover, it was to celebrate the fact that they had been saved from Egypt. But God, of course, could have arranged it differently. He could have had them drink water or some other fermented drink. One other sign of civilization is actually alcohol. Because it's very difficult to be nomadic and ferment alcohol, because that alcohol has to sit still. And whatever is that's fermenting, it needs time. And so with the grains or the grapes for wine, civilization had to begin, or was able to then start cultivating these things. So again, it's coming back to something that's fundamentally human. In all societies, pretty much you'll find some kind of fermented drink, and that's used for joyful events and celebrations. And as Jesus gives himself in this very dramatic and bloody event, and he says, "This is my blood," we're not just to understand it as something sorrowful, but as a celebration. This is the vehicle of his very life, life-giving blood. We know it. That's a sign of life, is blood. And Jesus wanted to say, I will give you life. I will give you what you lack when nothing seems to be going right in your life. I will give you life when you've fallen away far from me. And you reach the bottom of that pit and realize, yeah, I need you, God. I need your life in me. And that's a celebration. That's a cause for joy. So at every Mass, at every Eucharist, we have these elements of bread and wine to remind us of that which is most important, that which we can't live without. And that what we are getting is life-giving. So much so that the Lord is asking us, do this in remembrance of me. Not just to remember what I did, but to become what you are consuming. Because whenever we eat food, that becomes us. We consume it and it becomes a part of us. And in this divine mystery of who God is, to be truly in the image and likeness of God, to take on who he is, we need to become like God by giving ourselves, building up his body, giving life to others. And you say, well, I don't know what I would give. I don't have much to give. Everybody has something to give. Everybody has opportunities in life to love and to serve and to sacrifice and to share joy and to witness someone's pain and to bear the burdens of others, to give of ourselves. Like Jesus reminds us that he has given to us. We are to become the Eucharist. We are to become his body and his blood in the world. This is a celebration of our destiny. This is a celebration of our vocation, our calling, our mission. We are to become Eucharistic people. We are to become Eucharist for the world. And that is deep, and that is far, and that is wide, and that is why we need to keep thinking about it. We need to keep consuming. We need to keep participating in this mystery to become more and more what it is, to become Eucharist for the world. So this is a celebration of Jesus and his sacrifice and what he has given to us. And it is also a celebration of the mission that he is asking us to participate in, to become the body and blood of Jesus.